a program that we're giving you. It's a bite prevention program, and it's going to teach you several things. One of the things it's going to teach you is how to be safe around dogs that you meet in the community, or even your dogs that you have in your homes. Another thing it's going to teach you is how to look at dogs and their body language and the various things they do with bodies to predict what's going on with them emotionally inside of themselves. Do you kids know that dogs can talk to you? Do dogs talk? Can dogs talk? You say no? Anybody else have an opinion? Can dogs talk? You're right there. They can't speak English. That's very true. But dogs can talk. And how do you guess they talk?
By barking?
Body language. Yes, that's part of it. Body language, primarily. They talk with their bodies. What their tails do tell what they're feeling inside. What their mouths do tell what they're feeling inside. What their tail does tells what they're feeling inside. All of these things work together so that we can read a dog and determine what it's feeling inside. And if we can do that, we can better determine if the dog is safe and dangerous, and if it's a dog we should approach, or if it's a dog we shouldn't approach. Okay? Any questions about it? Well, we got some more people, so. This is a program, Bite Prevention, and we just started. We've been into it about a minute and a half, and we just started to introduce the topic of dog body language and how dogs talk to us. They don't speak to us in English, French, Spanish, or anything else. They speak to us with their bodies. They can also speak to us with their voices. Those all mean different things, and they tell us what's going on inside of the dog. And you'll learn more about that today, so that you'll be much better able to predict whether a dog's safe or dangerous. Any questions so far? Okay. What we're going to use, we're going to give you what we call a toolbox. Does everybody know what a toolbox is? Your parents might have one or more around the house. What's a toolbox?
A toolbox is like a special place where you can keep tools.
Right. And what do we use tools for?
Fixing stuff.
Yeah, we use tools to pull out in situations where we need to fix stuff or correct stuff or do stuff with them, right? That's a toolbox. So we're going to give you a toolbox with 5 tools in it that'll help you determine if a dog is safe or dangerous, and what to do around safe dogs and what to do around dangerous dogs. And this applies to dogs that we meet in the community and to dogs that are in our homes that we own. Now, we all know that most dogs are friendly, right? Most dogs are friendly. Most dogs are not terribly afraid of people. And most dogs will accept petting and interaction from kids and humans, right? But there are some dogs that don't like that. There are some dogs that are not all that safe for various reasons. They may be fearful. They may have had a bad experience with someone or something, and they might be a little bit frightened of that and be aggressive. And so some of these dogs that are not completely safe may bite. Dogs do bite. They bite adults and they bite kids. How many kids have had a dog bite? 2, right. Not very pleasant. Sometimes it's excusable, sometimes there's a reason for it, and sometimes there's not. But what we want to do is show you what a dog does and how it acts and stuff if it's going to bite, or how it acts if it's going to be safe and it's a dog that you can approach. Okay? So let's get into it. Now, what's this a picture of?
A girl.
Yep. More specific? It's a picture of a girl's head, right. That's where our toolbox is located. That's our toolbox. It's in our head. It's in our brains. It's not on, we don't carry it around in our hands or on our belt or anything. We have it in our head. Okay? And so in our head, we're going to introduce you to 5 different tools to help you when you meet dogs and interact with dogs and greet dogs. The first is be a tree. And that's the name of this whole program. You see this person is standing like a tree. Now, why would we stand like a tree in the presence of a dog, do you think? because that's very non-threatening posture for a dog. And can anybody tell me why that looks like a tree?
Because it's standing straight up and not moving.
Yes. Absolutely. Standing straight up, not moving, and not looking at the dog. Where is she looking?
The ground.
She's looking at the ground. She's looking down at her feet where their tree roots are. Those are her tree roots. So it's like this. Okay? And if a dog approaches you, a strange dog that you don't know, then tool number one is to be a tree. Okay? That's a very non-threatening way to stand around a strange dog that you don't know whether it's safe or dangerous. And a dog comes up and sees this posture, they get bored. It's not doing anything. And so they'll probably move away. So it's very important. This is the most important tool we can teach you. Can everybody stand up and be a tree? Okay. Yes, our arms are folded. Beautiful. Wonderful. You guys are really neat. Our arms are folded. We're looking down at our feet. And we just wait and be patient. And if a strange dog comes along, we have this posture until the dog leaves. Because we don't know if it's safe or dangerous. We're playing it safe. So tool number one is be a tree. Okay, sit down. Thank you. That's great. Now, we have a little thing we're going to go through during the course of this class. And when you see a growly dog, what do you need to do?
Move away from it.
What did you just do?
Be a tree.
You be a tree, right. Okay, so turn the picture around. Okay. When you see this picture, be a tree. Move. Quickly, quickly. Go into your tree posture. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that. Everybody's looking down at their roots. And the dog that just approached you is very bored. Sees looking you over saying, I don't want to approach these people. They're boring. I'm going to leave them alone. Okay, great. Very good. Very, very good. Can everybody give me a picture of a snarly dog? What? A growly, snarly dog. Can everybody imitate one? How do they go? Ah! Come on, let's go. How do they go? Yeah, that's good. Ah! You can see their teeth and their mouths are open. And ah! They have that growly warning. Okay? So what we have here is we have a video. And these two are approached by probably a family dog, or at least a dog they know. But the dog is not being very polite around them. So we're going to see what they do when this happens. Go ahead. Be a tree. How boring they are. Dog's looking other places. Here we go again. It moves away. Comes in, sniffs, says, oh, can't get any reaction there. Okay. And you see what happens when they move off and they're not a tree, the dog jumps on them. So you see what being a tree does when you meet a dog? They say, yeah, you're boring, I don't want to be around you, and that's good. Because if they're a strange dog, we don't know if they're safe or dangerous, right? Okay, so let's play that again and just watch what the dog does when they're a tree. What else can I do? So you maintain the tree posture. You stand like a tree until the dog leaves or moves away, okay? All right. Does everybody understand that? Okay, one more time. Be a tree. Good. Excellent. Very good. Okay, sit back down. Good. You kids are awesome. Really good. Okay. Now, what happens if a dog knocks you over or knocks you down, or you're on the ground, you happen to be on the ground and a strange dog comes up? We do the curl posture like this. You see the curl posture? All of your face is closed and hidden. Every important part of your body is covered so the dog can't hurt you. And it's going to be like be a tree. You'll be boring and the dog will probably move away. So can everybody come up and imitate this posture? see now. Let's see. Oh, that's excellent. Oh, everybody's good. Look at Otto over here. He's bored with you guys. That's good. He doesn't want to come around you. Huh?
They look like rocks.
Yeah. You look like rocks. That's excellent. Okay, good. Good. Back to your seats. Really neat. Now, when do we do that?
If we fall down and the dog's approaching us.
Yeah, or if the dog knocks you down, right? And then you go into this. If a dog approaches you, then and he's far away and he comes up to you, then you can be a tree. You see the difference between those two? Okay? Okay, next. The second tool we have that's very important are the eyes. What do we use our eyes? Our eyes are in the toolbox, and we use them as the second tool. What do we use our eyes for?
We look at how the dog's reacting.
That's part of it. That's good.
I was going to say the same thing.
Okay. We use our eyes to check the dog out and see if it's safe or dangerous and how it's reacting, just like you said. Good. Okay? So our eyes look at the dog, and what we see when we look at the dog with our eyes determines whether or not the dog is safe or dangerous, whether or not we be a tree, or we can pet the dog and interact with the dog, okay? Now remember, there's something important I want you to know about strange dogs or interacting with dogs you don't know very well. When you stare directly in a dog's eyes, that's a threat to a dog. Dogs don't like that. That's a threat in the animal. In many animal species, when one animal stares at another directly into their eyes, it's a threat. Human beings, we're encouraged and we're taught when we interact with people and talk to people, we're taught to look into their eyes and look into their faces, right? And that's fine. But to a dog, that's threatening. It's a threat. And they might take it wrongly and growl or snap or something like that. So if you meet a strange dog, one of the things you do is not stare at it directly in the eyes, okay? We want to avert our eyes and our face away from it if it's strange and we're not sure if it's safe or dangerous, okay? Everybody understand that? So, do we stare at a dog directly in the eyes? No. And why is that?
It could mean a threat to him. It could snap.
Right. You raised your hand too. Same. Down here, you raised your hand. Same. Yeah. Okay. Good. That's absolutely right. You guys are very smart. So that's tool number 2. Okay. Now, we're going to bring up pictures of 2 dogs. This is Blucher. Which dog do you think is the most friendly?
The one that looks more goldish.
The one that what?
The one
Is it on the left or the right?
the right.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Right.
Anybody else have an opinion? Right. You guys are right on. Awesome. This is incredible. And can anybody tell me why you think that dog is more safe than the other one?
Because he looks like he's more trained and that he is used to people more.
Yeah, some of that is right. Yes, good. Anybody else? Yes. Excellent. And we'll get into that later. Did you everybody hear that? His tongue is out. Tongue means relaxation. He's relaxed. Anybody else have any idea why the dog on the right is safer? Well, let's go into it. Notice Blucher here. His forehead. Notice how his brow is furrowed like this? That means he's under some stress and tension. Everybody furrow your brow. Can you do that? Yeah, some of you can do that. His brow is furrowed and he's under some stress and he's very concerned. Look at his eyes. See how hard they are? These are soft eyes. These are hard eyes. Dogs have soft and hard eyes just like humans. His eyes are a little bit hard. He's a little bit concerned about something, okay? Can everybody know the difference between a hard and a soft eye? Hard eye means, oh, I'm concerned or I'm stressed or I don't know about that, okay? Notice his mouth. His mouth tends to be a little bit closed and puckered like this. Can everybody imitate that? It's a little bit closed down and puckered like that. That signals discomfort and stress too. Okay, so this dog is concerned about something, he's nervous about something, he's worried about something. If you saw that dog out in the street, would you ask the owner if you could pet it? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. If you saw this dog out on the street, would you ask the owner if you could pet it? Right, for the very same reasons you mentioned. Let's look at the mouth. It's open. It's wide. It's not puckered like this. Look at the tongue. It's out. A dog that has his tongue out and is panting is probably relaxed. Sometimes dogs pant very heavily if they're stressed, but that's not the case here because we're looking at the other body. Notice the difference in their eyes. This eye is softer than this one over here. Okay? And notice the forehead is not as furrowed. You notice the forehead? It's not as concerned and furrowed as the other one. So you guys are right. That's a safe dog. I would approach the one on the right. It looks fairly safe. The one on the left I'd be concerned about. Okay? Okay, let's move on. Now, here's two dogs. Which dog do you think is the safest?
B.
B a tree. Right. You're absolutely right. Dog B is the safest. And can anybody tell me why? Oh, let's start with you.
His tongue is sticking out.
That's one reason. Anybody else?
His mouth is open wide.
That's another reason. Anybody else?
His eyes are open.
His eyes are open and they appear to be a little bit softer than the others, right? Okay, excellent. You guys are really getting this. This is really good. You guys are really good. You're understanding it. So let's go over this. Notice how his mouth is puckered. Oh! Be a tree. Okay, hold on. The dog is coming over. He's sniffing you. He's looking around. Boring. Keep at it. Okay, the dog is hanging around for 30 seconds. But we're so boring, it's not interested in it. It sees a cat across the street, and so it starts chasing the cat and leaves us alone, so go ahead and sit down. Very good. Very, very good. Very good. Okay, let's get back to this dog, Riley, I think they named it. Notice his mouth. It's tight and tense. Notice the tail is up and high. Sometimes that's a signal that a dog is uncomfortable or a little bit stressed. Okay? Next. And notice the hard eyes. No, go back to the other one. Notice the hard eyes. Notice how his eye looks a little bit harder. Now over here, dog B, just as you said, his mouth is open, his tongue is out, his muzzle looks relaxed, his forehead looks relaxed, no furrowed brow. Look at his eye, it looks a little bit softer. So you're absolutely right. That's a dog that I would approach that looks pretty good, pretty friendly, right? Okay, let's move to the next tool. Now, here's an important tool, the mouth. Anybody know why the mouth is an important tool when we greet dogs, strange dogs, or dogs that are walking down the street with their owner? Yeah.
Because if the dog's mouth is open wide, then you can ask the owner if you may pet him if you want to. But if the mouth is closed and it's kind of puckered, then you shouldn't.
You're
You should take caution.
partly right. You can ask the owner. That's partly right. I'll explain that. Yeah.
You can talk to the dog if it tries to rub against you and say stop it.
That is true. That's not exactly right, but that's a little bit true. We use the mouth if the dog looks safe and we greet a dog, we meet a dog with their owner out on the street, and if the dog looks safe, then we use our mouth to ask permission to meet or greet the dog, okay? So we use our mouth if the dog looks safe and it's okay to meet and greet, we think. We use our mouth to ask the owner permission if we can meet and greet or pet their dog. And here's what's happening here. Now, if you have a parent present, you can do one of two things if you want to pet that dog. You can ask the parent to ask the owner if you can pet the dog, or you can directly ask the owner if you can pet the dog. It's up to you. but your parent has to be there. If you encounter a strange dog by yourself with an owner and your parent isn't there, what do we not do? Yes?
Go up and pet him.
Right. It's a stranger. We don't know the person. We don't know the dog. And a parent isn't there, so we will not approach that dog and ask them to pet, right? And that's true, too, if you meet a person, a stranger out in the street, and they don't have a dog, and they ask you if you can help them find their dog, what would you do? You'd say no, because you don't know that person. We're kind of encouraged not to talk to strangers that we don't know, unless, we know a little bit or it looks like a safe situation. But, again, I'll review to you. If the dog looks safe and you have a parent, then you can either ask the dog owner to pet the dog, or you can ask your parent to ask them, okay? That's if the dog looks safe. This dog here looks reasonably relaxed, okay? Let's go to the next tool. The next tool, if the dog looks safe and you want to meet and greet it, and your parent has asked the owner for permission, and the owner has says yes, this is your next tool. And what is this?
Like to pet him and stuff?
Yeah, that's what you would use. Go ahead, down on the end.
Same.
Same? Right. That's what you would use to first approach the dog and let the dog check you out. You'd make a fist. Everybody make a fist like this. You see your hands aren't sticking out. You have a fist, and the dog can smell your fist. So this is the next tool, if it's okay to approach the dog and greet it. We start out, we would walk up to it like this. Say Otto here is the dog, right? And I'd walk. Would you ask, can you ask the owner if I can pet their dog? I'd really like to. So mom says, can my son pet your dog? And the owner says, yes. So I come up sideways, I don't look at it in the eye, and I put my fist down like this so it can smell my hand, right? Now, why is it important for the dog to smell your hand?
So it doesn't think you're a threat, like if you're going to punch it or something?
There's another answer, okay, that is more relevant to the fist and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the dog can know by your hand, by the way you move it around and react with your hand, whether, you're threatening or not. But I have another answer in mind. Can anybody else guess? Dogs learn something from sniffing your hand. What do they learn by sniffing your hand? Well, they can learn your gender, whether you're a boy or girl. They can learn what you've eaten. It comes out through sweat, through your pores and stuff. And they can probably read some of your emotions. Did you think dogs can read your emotions, whether you're feeling fear or anger inside of you? They probably can. They can smell cancer in humans. They can smell cancer that machines can't detect. So a dog can get a lot of information by sniffing your hand. And it can tell if you're angry probably, or mean, or things like that. Dogs have that instinct, and it's probably through smell, because they have such great smell. They have smells that we're just starting to understand. They have the ability to smell things. So that's why we go up and first off, let the dog sniff our hands, okay? Okay? Oh, hang on. I just want to make sure I've covered everything because this is important. So, dog sniffs our hands. Dog is doing very well. Dog is friendly. Let's go to the next slide. Now, you can commence to pet the dog if it takes your hand and everything is all right and sniffs you and it seems reasonably friendly. How do we pet a dog? Can anybody tell me how we pet a dog? Okay, let me give you some examples. Do we pet a dog like this? Why?
It's because after I hurt him, he's really old and hurt his bones.
Yeah. What happens if I walk up and slap your back? You ain't gonna like it, right? Well, he doesn't either. That's not good. Dogs don't like that. What about this? Huh? What about that? Does the dog like that? No, probably not. Yeah, you have a question?
No, I was going to say
massage it. You can give them a massage. That's true. And they like that. Okay, here's the best way to pet a dog. You can bend down and be low and not look at him directly in the eye, and you can pet him under the muscle, under the mouth and the lower muscle area, because they can see your hand. And you can pet them on the side under the ears here, because they can see your hand. If you start moving your hand like this, then they can't see it, so they'll be a little bit uncomfortable. But they do like the bottom of their mouths rubbed. They like the side of their faces rubbed. And if it gets used to you, you can even scratch the top of the ears there. But none of this. And let's look at the picture here. What's she doing?
She's hugging the dog.
Okay, do you think that's okay? Why?
The dog can't see her.
That's one reason? That's one reason. Yeah, anything else?
Choking.
Yeah, it looks like she's got a pretty tight hold around the throat, and it might be restricting breathing and all that other stuff on the throat. Yeah.
Its mouth is puckered up.
Yes. Hey, bingo. Good job. Yes, you guys are really good. Dogs don't like to be hugged. Dogs don't like to be hugged. Humans hug each other, okay? We hug our parents, we hug our friends, we hug our relatives, but dogs don't like to be hugged. It's not a canine thing, okay? So what don't we do? Yes?
Hug a dog.
Hug a dog. Hug a dog. That's what we don't do, right? Let's look at the dog and see why it's not comfortable. You can see the whites of his eyes. Usually when you see a dog, if a dog is looking around and exposing the whites of his eyes, that means it's uncomfortable. It's called a whale eye. It's a white eye. Well, let's go again. Why don't you mention this? Look at how tight the mouth is. Okay? The mouth is tight. It shows it's uncomfortable. It doesn't like that. Was there another one? No, go back. And just generally, the dog doesn't look happy, right? So that's why we don't hug the dog, because they don't like it. They're not used to it. They don't do that to each other. Okay? Okay, next. Now, there are some things that dogs do to tell us they're uncomfortable. And when we see these things that dogs do to tell us they're uncomfortable, we should leave them alone, whether they're a strange dog or whether they're your own dogs, right? Okay. Yawning is one thing. This dog isn't yawning because it's tired and it wants to take a nap, or it's had a 5-mile run and it wants to rest. This dog is yawning because it's uncomfortable. Dogs will yawn. Everybody yawn. Some dogs will yawn when they're uncomfortable. It's a stress signal. Okay? So if you see a dog yawning and you want to interact with it, I would give it some space. Remember, we've got to respect these dogs. We've got to kind of respect them like we respect human beings. Okay? So if you see a dog yawning, I wouldn't approach it. I would, or if I were petting and it's yawning, I would probably give it some space and not do that. Okay, next. What's this dog doing?
Licking its nose.
Right. I said, can everybody do that with their tongue? Okay. It's licking the side of its lip. You think this dog looks like it just ate, right? And it's licking all the food off its muzzle? Wrong. Dog's doing that probably because it's uncomfortable. Dog hasn't eaten for 4 hours. A dog that's uncomfortable and feeling a little bit of stress can tend to lick their mouth. That's a stress signal. It shows they're not comfortable. So would we want to continue petting this dog or interact with this dog if we saw this? Why not? Because it's probably uncomfortable. It's probably telling us. And this is true of your own dogs as well. It's probably telling us it's not exactly comfortable with being petted or whatever it is you're doing to it, or whatever it is doing. Okay, next. Now, can anybody notice something about this dog? What is this? What do you notice about this dog?
That his paws kind of tipped.
Excellent. Yeah, he's down like this. You can't see it all that well, but he's down like this and one paw is up like that. That's another sign the dog is uncomfortable. He's probably looking up at an owner, but he's uncomfortable because his paw is up. And that's a sign he's unsure of himself. That can also be a stress signal. So if you want to meet and greet a dog and he has his foot up like that, would you go up to him? Why not?
Because he feels uncomfortable.
Yes, he feels uncomfortable. He's giving you a signal that, hey, I don't really like this, you know. So that's a stress signal. And look, and what else do you see? Yeah. The white of his eye, a whale eye, remember? That's a sign of discomfort too. The dog's not comfortable with something. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Now, let's review. When don't we approach a dog after we've asked permission and greet it and meet it? Okay. When the dog's mouth is tight, right? Right? We talked about that. Next. When you see the whites of his eyes, that's a dog that's uncomfortable. See, the dog just generally looks stressed. Yeah.
And just looks sad, like he doesn't want to be petted right now.
Right. Next. Dog is uncomfortable because of what?
He has his tongue.
He has his tongue out. Yeah, he's licking the side of his mouth, right? So that shows he's uncomfortable. And finally, what? Dog is uncomfortable, what? Okay.
He's lifting up his paws just because he's unsure or uncomfortable.
Do you agree? Okay, you're both right. Right, good job. So these are 4 things that the dog is doing to let us know it's uncomfortable, and we probably shouldn't approach it or interact with it. And we should give it space. Remember, we have to respect dogs as we do human beings too. Okay? Any questions about that so far? Whoa! Whoa! Okay. Otto's coming around. Oh, stand up. Otto's coming around. He's looking around. He sees trees. He wants to see human beings. Boring, boring, boring. So he's off chasing cats, rabbits, or whatever, squirrels. Otto likes to chase squirrels. Be a tree. I caught you. Okay, Otto's gone. Very good. And when do we be a tree?
When a dog approaches him and you're unsure
Right.
about it.
Yes, yes. And when do we go down into a curl, like a ball? Yes.
If the dog knocks you over.
If the dog knocks you over, or you're already on the ground and the dog approaches you. Because that way they can't get at you, and you're boring and you're still. Okay? All right, next. You guys are doing great. We have one final tool. Where's our toolbox? In your heads. Say in your heads. Where is it? In your heads, right. That's where your toolbox is. And in your toolbox you have 5 tools, right? This is the final tool. This is your legs. Why do you suppose your legs are a tool in your toolbox?
So you can walk.
Yes, absolutely true. Why would we want to walk?
Away from it, like if it's a protein.
Attaboy, absolutely. We use our legs to move away from the dog if it's unsafe. Okay? And that's if the dog is on a leash, behind a kennel, behind a fence, or tethered up and leashed up. We use our legs to walk away, and I'll tell you why. Go ahead. Would you walk away from this dog? Why?
Because it shows it doesn't look sad and its mouth is puckered.
Right, but what's it got on the right? What's it got next to its mouth, its head?
A tennis ball.
A tennis ball. And what do you think might happen if you walked up to that dog and tried to grab the tennis ball?
He'd probably bite you.
He may.
Scratch you.
Some dogs like to guard their resources. You ever see a dog that's eating from a food bowl and you walk up to it and goes, "Ah, stay away from me, get out of my way." Okay. The dog is telling you it doesn't want you to mess with its food. Yeah.
I'm not sure dogs talk to people like you said.
You're not sure?
No. I know, but I can't. They don't. My dogs don't talk to me when I get near their bowls. They just growl at me.
Oh, they just growl. And you say that's not talking to you?
It is.
They are talking to you, but they're not doing it in English, right? You're right about that. They don't talk in English, but they are talking to you. And what are they saying to you when they growl at you when you approach a food bowl?
Get away from me.
Get away. If you guys went down to McDonald's and ordered a big hamburger and fries and a nice big malt, and you sat down and you were starving and you started eating, and somebody walked up to you and took your tray away, would you be happy? Or started messing with your fries, taking your fries and throwing them around and put them in your malt and all that stuff, would you be happy? Well, dogs that guard their food bowls and they guard objects like this probably aren't happy when you try to take them away. So if that's a strange dog and you're not sure about it, you'd use your legs to walk away if it's got a toy or a ball or something like that, right? Okay, is that pretty clear? Okay, next. I'd walk away from that. I wouldn't move in when mom is feeding her pups. We wouldn't bother her. We respect that process of mom feeding her pups, right? Because mom can be, a mom that's raising pups can be very irritable, especially when she's feeding. So if you see that, don't mess with it. Respect him. Move away from it. Okay? That's pretty clear. Next. Now what do we see here? Where are these dogs?
In a kennel.
Yeah, maybe. They're behind what?
Fence.
A fence, right. Good. Very good. So, when we see dogs behind a fence, we shouldn't approach them. Why? Because dogs behind a fence can be kind of aggressive. Anybody ever see two dogs fence fight behind fences? Yeah, they can be kind of aggressive because they're locked behind the fence and they may want to get out of there. So we would never approach that dog and stick our hands through the fence, right?
A couple of dogs live down our street, and our friends have them, and they fight behind the fence all the time, and they bark at me when I'm riding my bike on the street.
It doesn't mean they want to eat you or bite you. Some dogs behind fences can act aggressive because they're frustrated that they're behind the fence.
And they try to jump back.
Yeah. And hopefully the fence is tall enough where they can't, right?
Well, they can put their paws up on the fence.
Right.
They almost cut out.
Oh, sometimes they'll jump over then, right? Okay, so let's look at these dogs. What are these dogs saying? Look at that mouth. What's it doing?
It's puckered up.
It's puckered up, yeah. And what is the tongue doing?
It's licking its lip.
Yeah, that means it's what? That could mean it's uncomfortable. Okay, licking of lips is a sign of discomfort. Look at the body language of this dog on the left. It looks tense. And look at the dog on the right. It's panting, it's got a mouth open, but it could be stressed. But the point is here, you shouldn't walk up to dogs behind fences, and you should not especially stick your hands in the pet them. Okay? Is that clear? Everybody understand? That makes a lot of sense, right? Okay, next. Same thing. What do you see here?
The dog in a small kennel.
Yeah, now this is a kennel. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
That reminds me how I got one of my dogs. His last owners, they kept him in a small kennel like that and then cleaned up his.
Oh.
Yeah, and
that's too bad.
Up to his knees, and my mom's dad bought him.
That's sad. That's too bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good dog. Yeah. Yeah, this dog is being kenneled. Does that dog look happy to you? No. So what shouldn't we do? Yeah.
Go up and stick your hand.
Yeah, stay away from that dog. Use your legs. Keep away from it. Use your legs to keep away from it. Because that dog doesn't look happy. And especially when you go down to shelter. Anybody ever been down to our animal shelter? Most everybody, right? You know, we got dogs behind fences and stuff. Don't stick your hands in there. Most of our dogs will not bite you, but you don't want to give them that chance, or you don't want to give them that opportunity. Just give them some space. If you want to meet and greet the dog and pet it, you can take the dog. Your parents can take the dog outside on a leash. But any dog you see crated or kenneled like that, especially a dog that's looking like that you don't know, don't walk up to it and stick your hand in there. Use your legs. Stay away from it. Respect the dog, okay? Is that clear? Okay, next. Now this dog is where?
Inside a car.
And what do dogs do sometimes when they're inside their house or inside their car and they feel protected? What do they do sometimes? They might bark or growl at us if we approach. So some dogs inside the cars, they may be a little bit aggressive because they're in their car and they might want to protect their car. Yeah.
Once our dog was in the car and we were in my friend's house, and our friends had another dog, and our dog only was open and she jumped out of the window.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a good point. And especially with dogs that are back at pickup trucks, that's not good. Okay. But that's a good point. Yeah, that dog could jump out the window and run. So we have to watch that. But the point here is, what would you do if you saw this situation?
I would walk away from
You'd use your legs to walk away, right? You go into your toolbox, pull out your legs, and walk away. Because that dog, we don't want to approach it, and especially we don't want to put our hand up there because it's inside its car, and it may be protective, and you might get bit. Okay? Is that clear? Okay, next. Oh, what's this dog doing?
eating out of his food dish.
Yeah. What would happen to you guys if you had to eat the same meal every night, every morning and every night? Would you like that? Well, they do, but they seem to like it. Most of them like it. Sometimes we vary their diet and put meat in it maybe, but yeah, dogs like to eat. That's how they stay alive, just like we do. Would you walk up to that dog? No. Why not?
Because he might be trying to protect his food, and he might be very, very hungry, and he might be trying to protect his food.
And he might bite. He might lunge at you. Absolutely. We respect the dog's eating just like we respect each other eating, and we don't bother each other when we're eating. We can talk to each other as humans, but we don't walk up to a dog that's eating. Whether it's your family dog, or it's a strange dog, or your neighbor's dog. We stay away from it. Respect the dog and give it space to eat. Okay, next. Okay, we've got 5 tools. What are these?
Your tools.
There's our tools. And where are they located? Point to where they're located. Yeah, in your head. Right. Okay, we use the Beatrix. Oh my gosh. Quickly, quickly. Okay, relax and count. Count to 10. Dog is around, dog is coming. Okay, good. Excellent. We Beatrix for a dog that approaches us. The next tool is eyes. What do we do with our eyes?
Never stare into a dog's eyes.
Right, that's one thing we don't do, but we look the dog over to see if it's safe or dangerous, right? Okay, good. And the next tool is our fist. If dog looks safe, our next tool is the mouth. If dog looks safe and we want to meet and greet it and the owner is there and our parents are there, then we use our mouth to ask permission, right? Can I greet your dog? And how do we greet a dog? Do we walk up and do this? No. We respect the dog if we don't know it and it's strange. We might want to bend down. We might not want to look at it directly in the eye. And we might want to pet it where we can see our hands and stuff. Okay? Next tool is fist. What do we do? We stick our... Do we do this with the dog? No. What do we do?
You stick your fist by
You stick your fist up so it can smell your hand, right? And get some information about you. Okay, and if that works, well, when that works, that's fine. But the final one is what? The final tool is what? Yeah.
Your legs.
Your legs. And what do you do with your legs?
Walk away.
You walk away. In what situations do you walk away?
When the dog looks like sad and it has like a toy or eating.
Or eating, or behind a fence, or tethered up.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, good. You guys are awesome. Okay, I think that's it for now. Oh, now let's look at this dog. Do you think this is a friendly dog you'd like to approach and ask if you can meet and greet or pet? And why not?
Because it has its tail sticked up.
Excellent. It's aroused. Its tail is straight up, so it might be aroused. If you see a tail wagging, does that mean that dog is happy and good? Not necessarily. Some dogs can bite when their tail wags. A wagging tail means the dog is excited. Does not necessarily mean it's happy. Dogs with wagging tails can also bite. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This tail is high. And if we had a video of this, the tail might even be wagging back and forth very quickly. Okay? But what else do you see about here that may make you think that you shouldn't approach this dog?
His mouth is puckered.
Yes, excellent, excellent. And what do you see about his ears? Yeah.
They're sticking.
They're sticking forward, which means he's very alert and very focused, and he may be very aroused. Okay? And what do you notice about his body posture? Anybody? Where is it? Is it back, straight, or forward? Forward. So he's ready to go, right? He may be ready to lunge. He may be ready to move forward. So those are all good reasons to stay away from this dog and not approach it. Yeah.
Earlier about hugging it, whoever said it can, like, if you hug the dog, it could close the neck so it couldn't breathe well.
The throat.
Yeah, and it could be doing that with the leash.
Right. The leash could be choking the dog, and it could be making it uncomfortable and making it irritable, right? Or mad. That could happen. Sure. Good point. Absolutely. Is that it for now? Okay. Now, does this dog look happy or sad, or would you approach this dog? And why? Yes.
Because his mouth is wide open.
His mouth is wide open? Yes, true. And what else?
His tongue is sticking out.
Yes, true. And what else?
He just looks happy.
He looks happy. See, his eyes is kind of relaxed and soft. And what's his forehead doing, showing you? It looks reasonably relaxed, okay? So that's a happy dog. Boy, I'd walk up there. I'd ask the owner for permission. Okay? That's it for this part of it. We've got a few more minutes left. Are you guys having fun? Are you? Good. You guys are doing really well. Okay? Really well. Now, let me introduce the team before we go into our next phase, which will be a few minutes. Okay? And then we'll call it good, because you guys are really doing well. I'm Tom Kandt. I'm a shelter trainer and behavior consultant at the Lewis and Clark Humane Society. So I train the dogs, particularly the problem ones, and it's a great job and I love it. So if you're ever looking for a dog, come down to the Humane Society. It's a good place to get a good dog. This is Robin Layton. She's been operating the PowerPoint. She's a long-term volunteer at the Humane Society. She's a Feisty Fido crew member, which means she works on dogs with behavior problems to try to help them get adopted and try to help them over their behavior problems. Okay. This is Chris Fife. She's a long-term volunteer at the shelter. She's also a dog trainer. And so Chris helps us out a lot in obedience classes and in public education types of things. So this is our team. We're very happy to be here teaching you this important thing about dogs. Because guess what? Most bites to kids happen in the home. So you can apply this to your own family dogs too. Yeah.
How did you learn all of this?
Huh?
How did you learn all of this?
I'm a dog. Just studying, reading books, going to classes, working with dogs, being around dogs, studying them when I'm around them, practicing with them, experimenting with them.
We both went to a professional school too.
Yeah, that helped.
To get started.
But there's a lot, dogs are fascinating. And some of their behavior, they get some of the same problems, emotional problems as people, because they have the same emotions. Don't let anybody ever tell you, a scientist or anybody like that, tell you a dog doesn't have emotions. If you've ever been around a dog longer than an hour, you know they have emotions. They have anger, they have fear, they have joy, they have love, they have happiness. And they can get some of the same problems as humans. And we can help them in a lot of cases over those problems. And that's one of the things we do at the Humane Society. But I'm going to turn it over to Chris, and this next segment is about how long do you think?
We said we were going to do the trivia questions.
Yeah.
So
So this is for parents too, but your kids can learn too.
10 trivia questions to ask. Just raise your hand and we'll talk about each of these things. Some have been talked about in the course of Tom's presentation. Some maybe we haven't covered a little bit. One thing, this first one is, does a wagging tail mean a dog is friendly and wants to be pet? What do you think?
No.
Why?
It
Can we
could
talk about
be,
that?
it could be,
Sometimes it's body language. You have different, like, I'll give you a for instance. When you smile, does that always mean you're happy? Okay, tell me why.
it's because, you could be smiling but didn't want to, so you didn't disappoint your friend or something.
Okay? So sometimes we're not really feeling happy inside, but we got that smile on our face, but it's not necessarily the way we're feeling. It's the same way with the tail wag. Dogs have different types of tail wags. It's like Tom said, sometimes when they're just aroused or they're anxious, a tail wag could mean something. A lot of times when they're uncomfortable or very alert, their tail will be very high, and it might wag in a small motion really fast. Now, if they're more relaxed, a lot of times you see the dog will have the tail kind of loose and easy. Think of a big golden retriever, those happy little thing on their face, and the tail's about mid-range and a nice, easy, wide wag. You got to look at other things besides just the tail. And I think a lot of times most people look at that tail and that's the sign, that's all they look at. But you know a lot of other things that you can look at besides that tail. So that's one little clue for what the dog might be feeling like. Okay. Are dogs that show their teeth mean?
Yes.
Yes?
Not
What do you
in all
think?
cases.
Not in all cases? Okay. That's true. That's one way they have of communicating with you. That might be how they're feeling at the moment. You know, leave me alone. But sometimes dogs show their teeth because they're scared. And they're not trying, they don't want to come after you, but they don't want you to come to them. A lot of times dogs will show teeth like that as fear, but it looks really threatening. But they're trying to use that. Have you ever seen like animals that when they want something to go away, they'll get really big? That's another thing that does. So they try to make themselves look scary in an effort to get whatever's in front of them to go away. It doesn't necessarily mean they want to come after it. Sometimes dogs will show their teeth when they think they're doing their job. Like, I protect the house, you know, so I need to, if somebody approaches, I need to look big and scary and make them go away. But you might see that same dog in their house when you're there as a guest. It could be friendly as can be. So it can mean different things. It doesn't necessarily mean they're a mean dog. Okay? What do you say?
My aunt's dog, whenever it gets happy, it smiles.
Huh. That's cool. I have a dog that does that once in a while too. It looks so funny. She gets her teeth stuck on her lip. Or her lip stuck on her teeth and she just looks goofy. Usually when she's happy. Okay, do all handlers with their dog on a leash have control of their dogs?
No.
That's true. How do you know that?
It's because the leash might be thin, and if the dog's tongue around, it could snap and then crash or run away.
Some dogs really pull on their leash and the owner doesn't really have control. They've got a hold of them, but that dog can still jump on you. Some, you can see the leash is nice and loose. When they're walking, the dog's staying by their side, you know, like this. You know, but that dog, we don't know if they have control of their dog or not. We have to use our eyes, right? And have to ask, could you have your dog sit for me? And a lot of people don't understand dog language. How many of you knew about the yawning and the licking before you came here? Did you know that, Cameron, before you came? No? So you knew that. How did you know that?
I volunteered.
Okay, so she volunteers at the Humane Society. She's had experience to know that. Most people don't know that. All right, should you make a dog tolerate hugs and kisses because you're the master?
No.
No, why not? I mean, it's your dog, you're in charge, why not?
Maybe it could be a new dog and it's supposed to be new, so you hug it a lot and kiss it a lot. Could think you're threatening, trying to hurt it, and then could attack.
Let me ask the question a different way, or another question. Should your parents make you do things just because you're a kid? No. It's respect. Some things you don't do to others, whether it's a dog or your child or a friend, because you respect them. And if that's something that somebody's uncomfortable with, just like we expect people to respect our bodies and not touch us or do things that we wouldn't like, it's the same thing with the dogs. So even though we could make them, in a lot of cases it's not a good idea. And that's not going to build trust. Should you let other people pet your dog when you can see he's uncomfortable so you won't hurt the person's feelings?
No.
Why not?
Well,
You think other people are always going to be able to tell if your dog's uncomfortable?
no.
You're the owner,
Yeah.
right? So you want to be, it's kind of your responsibility to take care of that animal. That's part of being a good owner. If you can see your dog doesn't like something, it's probably best not to force him to do that. And it can have bad effect if he did, you know. And the dog gets to where, too, they don't necessarily feel they can trust you to protect them. So they will take that job and they say, well, you won't protect me, I'm going to protect myself. So it's okay to tell people, you know, my dog really doesn't like to be pet by strangers, so maybe we could just talk a minute and, you know, and you could, if the dog wants to sniff them, and then let the dog approach them at their own comfort level. Can you train a dog that likes to jump to sit quietly for petting? You think?
It would just take a long time.
It takes a while. That is true. Jumping is a hard thing to break, but it can be done. And it just takes a lot of work. Not a lot of work, actually a little bit of work all the time. A little bit every day over time. What were you going to say?
Nobody, my mom, my dad, and we didn't really teach my dog this, but when he would want something, he'd put your paw on your leg or your hand for you to get his attention, and then.
So he's got a little signal. They're pretty
Yeah.
smart like that.
Can a dog get too old to train?
That's my next question.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's great. Can an old dog learn new tricks? What do you think? That's perfect. What do you think?
I don't know, but I've heard something. Can you teach a dog new tricks?
An old dog new tricks. That's a saying.
Yeah.
Actually, they can. There's no time that you can't train a dog. There are times that are best, what people call best, when puppies are young, between the ages of about 4 weeks to 4 months or 16 weeks. That's when they're most impressionable and they'll be the easiest to train and probably have the longest effect. But you can train a dog throughout their entire life. Just takes time, patience, and working with them. So let's talk about that. What's the best way to train a dog?
Like, keep practicing him doing it.
Okay. Lots of practice. That's good.
And hit him.
Don't hit him. Absolutely not. That goes back to respect. How do you guys like to learn?
The teachers or your mom or dad showing you and then you trying it.
Okay. And does it help when they say, oh, that was terrible. Ugh, you're so stupid. What if you make a mistake? What helps you?
I would ask, either my mom, dad, whoever's helping me, see if I got it right and or wrong, or if I didn't.
So being given a chance to ask questions or to make a mistake and to be shown the right way, that's the same way with your dogs. And you start easy. You guys didn't start school in high school, did you? Where did you start school? Like what was that first time you went to school? What was it called?
Preschool.
Preschool. And then kindergarten, first grade, and so on, right? It's the same way with dogs. You've got to start simple and practice a lot. Be patient. Be willing to help them when they make mistakes. Praise them when they do it right, so that they know. It's like you get a paperback that has an A on it, or your teacher says, yes, that was right. Dogs need to know when they get it right, and there's a lot of good ways to show them that. We do that at the kennel with treats, with praise, with games. Let them do their favorite games. Those are all ways. And you have to be consistent. What does it mean to be consistent?
Do it like, do the same thing, the same.
Right.
Do it
Do it the same way, right? Yeah, you don't make them do one thing one time and then let them get away with it another time. Like say the jumping. You don't really get on them for jumping and then you encourage them to jump other times. Or not correct them when they do it at other times. You have to teach them the same thing, and everybody in the family needs to be doing the same thing. Okay. What should you do if you get a dog bite?
So your mom or dad.
That's the most important first. Tell an adult. Skin care might be important, proper skin care. You might have to wash it up, use a little peroxide. You might need to go see the doctor if they break the skin. And if this is your pet, you might be able to train them not to. You know, there's a lot of things you can do training-wise, but you first have to let somebody know. Even letting an owner know if it's somebody else's dog, they can go get help. But if it goes, and nobody does anything about it, that problem can get worse. So telling an adult is really important. Last question. Why do dogs sniff each other when they first meet?
Know each other.
So they can know if the other dog is safe or not.
Okay. They learn so much stuff that we couldn't even imagine through their smelling. They can smell just amazing amounts of information they gather. Where the dog's been, what kind of materials their paws have been on. To us it looks kind of rude, but like Tom mentioned to you, a polite greeting for a human is if you look people in the eye, maybe shake their hand, you approach them from the front. Have you ever seen dogs, the polite greeting, they actually kind of approach each other sideways. They don't look in the eye. A lot of time they'll sniff the hind ends and sniff each other's face. You know, that looks gross, but that's a polite greeting for a canine. So bear that in mind when you're approaching a dog, that you don't go right up and get in their face and do the human greeting. You do the dog greeting in that you approach them sideways, you let them sniff you, okay? Things like that. All right, we have time now for some questions and answers. If anybody has questions.
For good portions of the day. Should you leave music on, television, noise, or silence?
I think they need some kind of stimulation during the day. I don't know, you know, I've seen in zoos where they left like television on for animals, or music. So I think there's some merit to it. I don't know how much that helps. I think if you put some things in their environment that they can interact with, like there are toys that will dispense treats a little at a time as the dog plays with it. Some people do like a little obstacle course where they'll hide a few things for the dog to find. There's things like Kongs or other toys that you can stuff with food, and that gives them a little bit of mental work while they're during the day.
There's special music for dogs too. There's a thing called Through a Dog's Ear, and this music was actually tested. It's classical music tested on dogs, and you can buy that over the internet. and it keeps dogs calmer. So if you have something like a classical music radio station that you can put on, or that digital music in Dresden, you can use the music to keep the dog happy.
I just read an article about a research project where they took dogs with separation anxiety. That's where the owner leaves and the dog is left home alone, and the dog gets very anxious and distressed because the owner isn't there. And they put some objects inside the house to see what helped reduce the dog's stress while the owner was gone. One of the things that helped reduce stress was cloth, soft cloth the dog could chew on and be around. The thing that helped reduce stress was a mirror. They put a mirror inside one of the rooms, and the dog looks into the mirror and sees another dog and thinks he's got a companion. Real hard toys didn't seem to help all that much. Music didn't seem to help all that much in this particular study, but it's interesting that mirrors and soft cloth really helped. Question?
If you put on a special music that only dogs can hear, would it hurt the dog's ears?
Well, they don't make music that only dogs can hear. They make music that's within our hearing range, so that we know the volume and what type of music and all of that. Things that dogs can hear that we can't hear are like special dog whistles for calling dogs, but other than that, we don't manufacture them that only they can hear.
Dogs can tend to hear high frequencies much better than humans. That's why you have silent whistles that are so effective, alerting dogs or calling dogs back, because they have real high frequencies that some humans can't hear, but dogs can. So they can hear real high pitches. Any other questions? Yes?
Do the electronic monitors that are advertised to help reduce their barking, do those really work?
I don't think they work that well. I lived in a townhouse and there were 2 dogs next door in a small yard, and I couldn't get the owners to do much about it, so I put one of those things on the side of the house, and the dogs bark just as much. So training is probably the best way to keep dogs from barking.
Are you talking about invisible fences or collars?
No, actually they look like a radio almost. You plug them in inside the house, and they're supposed to cover several hundred square feet, and they emit an uncomfortable sound that only the dog can hear when they bark.
That might help in some cases. Sometimes the dog can habituate to something like that, which means over time get used to it. Just like we can get used to street traffic over time, or airplanes flying over low over time. Yeah, there's some fallout to that kind of thing too. It could work, but it could also create some negative results. Like Robin said, the best way is try to train it out first. Questions? Anybody else? Is that it? I would just want to say a couple things to wrap up. You guys have been really wonderful. And how many kids out there love dogs? How many kids love dogs? Not just like dogs, but love dogs. Okay, me too. And that's why we're all here. Because these animals and creatures are so wonderful, and they become such an important part of our lives that we want to understand them as well as we can, and we want to treat them as well as we can, and we want to be best friends with them as well as we can. And guess what? You kids now, after this session, know probably more than most adults know about dogs, just being in this session. So if you can, go tell your friends about how to act properly around dogs and what you should do and you shouldn't do, okay? It's awesome that you're here. We appreciate the fact that you love dogs and that you're interested in them, and we thank the parents for bringing them in too. Just remember that one of our most important friends in life is a dog. And you guys are really, really congratulated for being here. Parents are congratulated for bringing them here. We want to give you a hand.